We hope you enjoy our video from Off-Roading 101. We'll see you on the trails real soon. Today we're going to review the Baxter Performance Oil Anti-Siphon Valve for the Pentastar 3.6 engine installed in a Jeep Wrangler. Alright, we're going to test the engine. The vehicle hasn't been started in almost 48 hours now. We're going to start it with a dry start. All of the oil should have been dropped from the top of the engine back down to the bottom. And we're going to see if we hear the ticking of the engine here. Alright, so now we're taking a look at the Baxter Performance pump. It's part number MS201-BK. It is for the Pentastar 3.6 engine that we're going to be installing this into a 2017 Jeep Wrangler JK. Now I want to take a look at a few things here that we've got. So what we'll end up doing is taking out the old paper fuel filter and cap, and we're going to replace it with this. It's going to go back down in there. And then we're going to be adding the Mobil 1 the oil filter on top of that. So that will then screw onto here, and we'll now have a good canister type filter on the top. This piece right here is used by this piece right here. We'll get into some more video on this later. That's going to adjust this so that when you tighten it in, you want this facing forward so that you have access to one of these things for the Schrader valve. And the Schrader valve will be used to put some air pressure in. It will go up in and then blow all the oil out of the filter. That way when you go to change the oil, it'll be a dry filter, making it nicer to go through. And then this piece is what allows the oil to stay pressurized up in the top part of the system without airing down. So that being said, we're going to take a look at this piece here. We're going to look at our little goodie bag that we have. And we have a few different pieces. One, small O-ring will go down here. We're not putting these O-rings on yet because we want to do a dry fit. This one will go up on the top, right up on here, so we'll bring it around this way, flip it up into here. That way when we tighten it down onto the system, it will be solid. Then we're going to have the Schrader valve that we're going to push in here. This will go in top. And what you'll want to do is we'll tighten this in, and then we'll back it out a little bit so that we'll be able to screw this on and have access to it when we're ready to go. And then we will have the plug that goes on the other side to seal this up. We'll do a little bit of Loctite on those, make sure they're in. And then you've got your nice little cap that's going to go on top of the valve to keep it from, sorry, wrong way, to actually keep that dry and protected so it doesn't get dust in. So, should be a very, very simple process. We're going to get started on that. 24 millimeter socket, a little extension. We're going to come in here and we're going to take the cover off of this, but before we do that, take our handy dandy blue towels, and I'm going to go ahead and put those down around the bottom of it just so that I can help minimize the amount of oil drain that we're going to have in here. There we go. It's in there nice and snug. And this is going to be the housing for the paper filter, which I just personally don't like. Lay that right there. Pull this up, and this engine's been setting now for about 20 minutes. And I want you to see how dry that filter is. It's pretty well empty. So everything that was in there just a few minutes ago when we started this process, actually no, it hasn't been 20 minutes. It's only been 10 minutes since we started this. That's not much oil in there. That's all drained back down in. So again, the top of the engine's already done, and we should be able to pull this off, and there's our wonderful little filter. We will be getting rid of this and not putting this one back onto the top. Baxter's Performance oil pressure retaining piece, and we're just going to dry fit it in here. And what we're going to want to try to do is have it so that this is up towards the front and I have this or this off to the side so that we can actually use it. I'm going to set set it in there. Going down there. Wow, going really well now. Actually, it's not going in at all because you gotta put pressure on it. And we're sitting here, and it looks like it's doing really well. And we're gonna turn it in until it bottoms out, which is gonna be right about there. And then they say turn it back 180 degrees, which would be, that's 180, but we need to go a little bit differently because we have to pull this around to the side here to where we're going to be able to get to the Schrader valve and put it in. And the reason we got to figure this out ahead of time is we got to understand which side that we need to seal up. With the Baxter logo in the back here, I know that the one on the left-hand side is what we're going to need to seal up. So we're going to go ahead and take this back out. Set this right here. Pull it out. And let's bring you with us. All right, so now we got the oil filter back over here on the desk. Wipe it up here just so I can stay clean a little bit. A little bit of the oil right here. I'm dipping my finger in just to get enough on. I'm gonna go around this, dry the finger off, bring our seal, and we're going to slide it on. We're going to attempt to slide it on here. Give me just 1 second. And there we go. We've got the first seal on. It's good. It's lubricated. I'm just going to go add just a little bit more just because I want to make sure everything is good with that one. Now what we've done is I went ahead and I'll do it again here. Lube up everything along right in here. And it's a good thing that I'm lubing these because what we're going to do is it's not going to fit perfectly on here. And there's a couple different ways that you can do it. You can roll it down. Get started here. Start towards the bottom there and roll it down, and then it wants to stuck. Now, they have a proper tool that you can use that's meant for these things. I have something that's very similar, and it's like an old dental cleaning pick, but used to have sharp edges on it. But all I'm going to do is just kind of run this down through here and use this to just kind of bring it down and around while I'm holding it. And we'll come around, and you'll see it's just starting to go on down where it needs to go. Look again. Makes it much easier, faster work to get it down where it needs to be. And we're coming down into the last little bit. And we should be good to go. Like how that one fits. So we're set and ready to go. Let me get the thread locker. Alright, so we keep some thread locker for this fun stuff. Let's shake it up a little bit. And alright, so we're getting ready to go take it over there. I'm going to go in here and just kind of re-lube this seal here because we want it to fit in nice. I don't want it to fit in dry or hard. There's that, and then we're going to do the bottom one. Get up here on the front end of the rig. I've got my plug in here. I'm planning on tightening this down so this will end up facing this way. Let's get that down in there. It drops in nice and easy. Okay, now let's go ahead and switch to our 1 inch. Go ahead and tighten this down. And tighten it down to where it bottoms out, and then backing it out half a turn, and that's where we were at. So we're going to be more than half a turn, but we're going to be right back to where we were setting, and I'm actually going to turn it just a little bit more so that we can put the Schrader valve more angling this way. That's the goal right now, but let's see about getting that one in and work with it. All right, so we have the bottom of the Schrader valve in. I put just a little bit of Loctite on it, not much. And we're going to see if we can get this thing in here. Oh, you know, it helps if you do it the right way, get the threads going the right way, and it'll go right in. Okay, it's going to take a little bit. This is not a fun piece here. And not easy to get things out of the way to make it work. So we're just going to keep trying this until we get this figured out. I'm going to try two-handed insert and turn, and that may have actually just, there we go. Turn this and turn this. Keep turning, 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 turning. Okay. And then I'll try the 15. Ooh, the 15 might actually do us, oh, look at that. 15 does us a whole lot better because we can still get onto it a little bit. And turn it. Here a little bit underneath it. Not quite yet. I'm going to use our vice grips here to do a little bit of a turn if we can. And it looks like I'm still going to be struggling, so let's come underneath it, grab it. There we go. That's what we'll do, is we'll grab it underneath. And we obviously don't want to distort anything, so we're just turning it easy till we can get back to the socket or a wrench. That's where we're going to tighten it up, and we're going to see that's nice and snug there. So that was a 15 and a crescent wrench, which allowed us to do the tighten up just a little bit easier. Now we're going to put the Schrader valve in, which is an 11 millimeter, and again we're going to just snug them up according to the instructions. All right, so I'm going to do an 11 millimeter deep socket, come in here, and oh, this makes it so much nicer. Get these things in here nice and snug is what we're looking for. Remember, just snug. All right, that looks good. And now the very most important part is our little cap, which goes on here. For one of the final pieces in the installation, you want to make sure that this is tightened down now that you have everything in here the way you want. And that's to do that with this little silver piece right there. That's the locking rings that we were telling you about before. So you get in the right tool to get right in there, and then you tighten it up. And it just needs to be snug. That way what that does is that will lock that into place so that it does not move out. So if somebody tries to remove the oil filter or anything like that, that it doesn't bring the whole thing with it. So now we just got a good snug in there. That's not gonna come out unless somebody just loosens that back up. And then all we'll do is we will put the cap back on and get it ready to go. Okay. So you just need a little pry to get that out of the way. Snug this up. We'll take a look. What we're going to do now is we're going to start the engine. We expect to hear the sewing machine knocking a little bit. We'll let it run till that stops, and we're going to shut it off and let it set for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to try it again. Here we go. Okay, we're going to do an immediate stop and start. All right, well that sounds real good. So now we're going to do the 30-minute portion. At 30-minute mark, I'm seeing no oil leaks. I've checked all the way around in here. Everything's looking real good. We're going to go ahead and start it up and see how it goes. Do is we're going to take the oil filter off, but we're going to show you what the Schrader valve is used for. So what you end up doing is we'll take this little piece off right here, the cap for the Schrader valve. Try not to drop it down into the engine. We'll set it right there, and I'm going to drop this on here, and all I'm going to do is you need to hit about 20 to 30 pounds of PSI. That's all. And we're putting that right in there. And then we're going to pull this off. Let's try it the old-fashioned way. There we go. It's not on tight enough yet, or on hard enough to be able to fight it. But what I'm expecting to see is when we pull this off, we don't have any oil. No oils are dripping out. It's looking real good. And look at that. No oil drippage anywhere. It's empty, making oil changes so much easier and faster. So far, I'm liking the Baxter's Performance Oil Pressure Retainer. We'll do a review on this in another 6 months and see how it does. All right, so here's the next question that I personally have, which is how much oil does this take? So what we're going to end up doing, what is it, 6 quarts, I believe that the engine takes. But now that you're storing oil up in the filter, how much does that take? So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this up, and we're going to pull the oil stick. We're going to wipe it down, make sure it's all nice and clean from the engine just running a little bit ago. And then we'll drop this back down in. And we'll pull it right back up again. And let's take a look and see, what do we have right here? And it looks like it hasn't really taken much out of it. It looks like it's really full. Okay, let me shut the sound off here. So what we're going to do now is I have drained all the oil from the engine except for what's in this. So I've removed and put a clean bowl down at the bottom of it. We're going to go ahead and force this oil out here, let it drip in that bowl. That way we can actually see how much oil is being retained in the upper end of the engine. So we'll take off a little valve. Makes it a little bit easier for me to get down in there to it. And we're going to just drop this on here. We're going to do just a little shot of air. All right, so we're there. Let me put this back on. And then we're going to let it drain for just a few more minutes, and I'll pull the bowl up here. We'll see just how much we have in there. All right, so we're going to go underneath the vehicle because I want you to see what I did. I thought I had the bowl lined up perfectly to capture it, but as you can see from here, I missed a little bit of it. It's run down with both lights that way so you can kind of see what's going on. So I got a little bit in there, but if we take a look at what we got in here, we got quite a bit of oil in here. That was all being retained in the upper engine that was not before. All of this amount was what was draining down below. Now upon start, this is immediately available to the upper end of the engine. I'd say this is really a cool thing so far. All right, so I've gone ahead and used the air pressure to push out the oil. We've shown that we've got a bunch of this, plus what was on the floor. So just to give everybody an idea, we're gonna go ahead and pour this into a glass. And you can see just how much oil is kept with the Baxter Performance pump in there. This is all kept up in top of the engine, so as soon as you crank the engine, it's already pushing it through instead of having to push all this through dry. This is excellent. Great test. I'm so glad I did this. Now, keep in mind that probably a little bit more than this. I'm going to guess maybe half quart extra that is kept in the up top, because we still have some here, plus what I spilled on the floor from not properly placing the bowl. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take and pour this oil back into this container and see if we can kind of track down just about how much oil extra that we're going to have to add in above the 6 quarts. My thought before this was that it would take about a half a quart more, and if we take a look at it, we're almost at a half a quart right here. So I'm expecting that this will actually turn out that we'll need that much more. So let's just see. I missed it on the last video there, but I wanted to show through I did put the 6th quart in, and now here is 6.5 quarts. So this is actually what I ended up having left over. You can see I've used this much of it. I've got this much. So this will be ready for the next time that I go around to change the oil. Yeah, so it did take 6.5 quarts. We're at full capacity. And it's a good thing. So I'd really like to say thank you very much for watching the video that I put together. The actual installation should take you about 15-20 minutes to do. It took me about 2.5 hours because I was trying to get all the video and trying to get all the commentary correct. So I apologize for the length of it, but I wanted to make sure that you could see exactly what's going on. As you can see, I put that into my off-road rigs 2017 two-door Rubicon Wrangler that we use just about every weekend for about 9 months of the year when we're doing training classes. So we get a lot of stops and starts on there. I've got 75,000 miles on this thing, and I want to make sure that I'm protecting it against engine wear. So it's one of those things that it's a little insurance money up front. Going to make the longevity of the life of the vehicle well worth it. So I'm going to give this, so far, 5 out of 5 stars. I think it's real good. You're going to see more coming from us on other items. See you real soon.